Karen cried about the helicopter noise court declared my airspace exempt due to veteran rights. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to have your peace and quiet shattered by someone who thinks they own the sky? For years, I lived on my family's sprawling Montana ranch, a place where the only sounds were the wind through the pines and the distant low of cattle. That is, until Karen moved in next door and decided the helicopters I flew for veteran therapy were her personal nightmare. She called them deafening, intrusive, and a blight on the community. She even took me to court, demanding I stop flying altogether. But what Karen didn't expect was that the law, and a deeper truth about sacrifice, would turn her crusade into a lesson she'd never forget. My name's Jake Thornton, a retired Army pilot who served 2 tours in Afghanistan. After coming home, I struggled with the silence of civilian life. The vastness of our 200-acre ranch felt like a cage without purpose. That's when I started Freedom Flights, a nonprofit offering helicopter rides to veterans battling PTSD. The chopper restored Huey from the Vietnam era was more than a machine. It was a lifeline. Veterans would climb aboard, feel the familiar rumble, and for a fleeting hour, find solace in the skies. We flew low over the rolling hills, the thrum of the blades a reminder of missions past, but also a promise of healing. The ranch, once my family's cattle operation, became a sanctuary for those who'd served. Karen and her husband, Greg, bought the neighboring property 3 years ago. They were city folks from Seattle, chasing the rustic dream. At first, they seemed friendly enough, waving from their shiny new fence line. But trouble brewed the moment we fired up the Huey for our first veteran flight after they moved in. Karen stormed over, her face redder than the sunset, screaming about the noise disturbing her yoga retreats. "This is a peaceful community," she shouted, ignoring that our ranch had been here for generations. I explained the program, the veterans, the purpose. She didn't care. "I don't want to hear your war machines every weekend," she snapped, stomping back to her artisanal vegetable garden. It wasn't just complaints. Karen launched a campaign. She rallied other newcomers, started a petition, and flooded the county office with noise complaints. She'd stand on her porch with a decibel meter, documenting every takeoff and landing. Social media became her megaphone posts calling me a reckless flyboy and our program a nuisance to decent people. I tried reasoning with her, offered to adjust flight times, fly higher, even invited her to meet the veterans. She refused. "I'm entitled to peace," she said. "You're stealing that from me." Her entitlement stung, but I kept flying. The veterans needed it, and I wasn't about to let Karen's tantrums ground us. Then came the lawsuit. Karen filed for an injunction, claiming our flights violated local noise ordinances and constituted a private nuisance. She argued the helicopters were a danger, citing potential crashes and emotional distress. Her lawyer, a slick city type, painted me as a rogue pilot terrorizing the countryside. I was floored. This wasn't just about noise. It was personal. She wanted to erase what we were doing for veterans because it didn't fit her idyllic fantasy. I hired a lawyer, a grizzled vet himself named Tom, who warned me, "This is going to be a fight, Jake. She's got money and a loud mouth." The twist came at the courthouse, in a moment no one saw coming. As we prepared for trial, Tom dug into property records and stumbled across something buried in the fine print of our land deeds. Decades ago, my grandfather, a World War II pilot, had secured a federal easement for low-altitude flights over our ranch, tied to his service and the land's use for veteran-related activities. It was a rare exemption, granted in the 1950s when the government rewarded returning soldiers with unique land rights. Tom's eyes lit up. "This could be our silver bullet," he said. But there was more. A local historian, Mrs. Clara Evans, reached out after hearing about the case. She was a Vietnam War widow, and her late husband had flown Hueys. She had documents showing our ranch was used as a training site for helicopter pilots in the 1960s, reinforcing the easement's legal weight. The courtroom was packed the day of the hearing. Karen sat with her lawyer, arms crossed, radiating confidence. Her witnesses, mostly her new neighbors, testified about sleepless nights and rattled windows. One woman claimed her therapy dog had anxiety attacks because of the noise. I felt the room tilt against us. Then Tom called Clara to the stand. She walked slowly, her silver hair catching the light, and told the story of her husband's sacrifice. "That Huey Jake flies," she said, voice steady. "It's the sound of freedom for men and women who gave everything. It's not noisy, it's healing." The room went quiet. Veterans in the audience, some in wheelchairs, nodded. Karen's face twitched, but she didn't budge. Tom presented the easement, backed by Clara's documents and federal law. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with a reputation for fairness, leaned forward. "Mr. Thornton's property has a federally protected right to low-altitude flights for veteran-related purposes," Tom argued. "This predates Ms. Karen's purchase and overrides local ordinances." Karen's lawyer objected, claiming the easement was outdated, but the judge wasn't having it. "The law doesn't expire because someone new moves in," she said sharply. Then came the bombshell. The judge cited United States versus Cosby, 1946, a Supreme Court case affirming that landowners have rights to the immediate reaches of their airspace, but federal easements like mine take precedence when tied to public interest, especially veteran welfare. Karen's case unraveled. Her lawyer tried to pivot, arguing emotional distress, but the judge cut him off. "Ms. Karen, you purchased property next to a working ranch with a known history of aviation activity. Did you not read the deed disclosures?" Karen stammered, admitting she'd skimmed them. The courtroom murmured. The judge ruled. The easement was valid, the flights were exempt from local noise laws, and Karen's nuisance claim was dismissed. She was ordered to pay court costs, a sting she hadn't anticipated. As we left, I saw her whispering furiously with Greg, her face pale. But the real reckoning came later. Word of the ruling spread, and the community turned on Karen. Her petition fizzled as locals, many with military ties, rallied behind freedom flights. Clara organized a veterans event at the ranch, and hundreds showed up, vets, families, even the mayor. Karen's yoga retreat business tanked. Clients didn't want to be associated with someone who tried to silence a veterans program. Her social media went quiet, and whispers spread that Greg was pushing to move back to Seattle. One veteran, a Marine named Sam who'd found peace on our flights, left a note on her gate. "You tried to take away our sky. You lost more than a lawsuit." Standing on the ranch today, watching the Huey lift off with another group of veterans, I feel a weight lift. The sky is ours again, not because we won in court, but because we stood for something bigger than one woman's complaints. Karen thought she could control the air, but she didn't understand its power to heal. The veterans who fly with us, they're not just passengers. They're survivors, reclaiming their place in a world that sometimes forgets them. And that sound, the one Karen hated, is the heartbeat of freedom. What do you think? Did Karen have a point about the noise? Or was her fight a selfish grab for control? Share your thoughts below.